If you take a look at speed cubes from 2020 and cubes from now, you will notice how they are very similar. And this isn't just a one-off, it's happened here, and here. But as someone who is so interested in the constant changing designs of speed cubes and how they can extract tenths of a second from a solve for the best cubers, it's sad to see how similar they are all getting. There has to be a reason for this, so I'm going to find that and then go over whether the speed cube design will change or if we are stuck forever. And don't worry, because there is some hope. But before that, let me explain why I am so worried about cubes not changing. See, whilst it might seem like the design of a cube is such a minor part of the entire hobby, it actually has a much larger impact. For example, when new and exciting cubes come out, there are tons of YouTube videos about the releases which garner a lot of attention. This therefore helps to get people into the hobby or keep them here by showing how fun and exciting it is. If content creation for cubing dies, then there will be a reduction in the amount of cubers because of how important this is to keep the hobby going. Of course, you could look at it from a different perspective and consider the other types of content people are making, such as STU Cube, who is currently doing very well and rarely covers releases at all. Therefore meaning innovation isn't completely necessary, but the reduction in content from larger creators is definitely somewhat impacted by the lack of exciting cubes. Now moving on to speed cube design being so similar, and it's obvious that innovation is very difficult to achieve. At a certain point, cubes are just going to reach their maximum potential, and some might argue that we are at that point right now. The only thing changing on flagships currently is the option to have more customization, which is clearly not what cubers want. I mean, just looking at the GAN 14, the biggest selling point for that cube was the ability to customize it 1,296 times, which is great, but personally I don't think anyone needs that. And this is why a lot of people are just sticking to older cubes. And I understand that it is very difficult to fit anything more into a speed cube, which is where these companies are struggling, but it just makes releases so boring. On top of this, Moyu released around 30 3x3s last year, which is ridiculous. But the worst part is that pretty much all of them were the same. I mean, some had ball core and others had adjustable magnets, but in terms of actual innovation and piece design, nothing really changed. The result of this is that people just won't buy 3x3s anymore. The average cuber, where they would have used to buy a couple of cubes every year to try out new features and feelings, will now just find one that they like and stick to it for ages. Because what's the point in trying something that you know is going to be identical to before? And then we have GAN. Just looking at the piece design for two of their cubes 3 years apart, they are so similar. I mean, the 13 does have this extra magnet, which is nice, I guess, but literally every reviewer for this cube has said that they can't feel any difference. So especially with GAN, they are changing things just for the sake of changing them. And this can also be seen on their GES system, which has been altered on every cube since the 11, but fundamentally it does the exact same thing whilst just looking different. But okay, what about other events? Because this is where I made a big mistake in some of my other videos by only talking about 3x3. So it is clear that other cubes are changing. With the YJ-MGC lines of big cubes, they are now starting to add UV coating. But whether that counts as innovation or just improvement, I'm not sure, because UV coating has been around for ages. Also, big cubes are now getting ball cores, which once again is great, but it's not innovation. They are just taking successful parts of 3x3 technology and moving it over to other events. What I would really like to see is some completely new ideas, but there is some hope. I have made a list of the biggest innovations that have ever happened within 3x3 speed cube technology, and they are magnets, corner cutting, stickerless cubes, dual adjustment systems, and corner to core magnets. And if we look at when the first real speed cube was released, which is very difficult to do because no one really knows, but we'll just say it was around 2000, and if we look at when the last big innovation happened, which was corner to core magnets on the GAN 11 in 2020, there has been a 20-year difference in which 5 large innovations have happened. This means there is an average of one every 4 years. And considering the last one was 4 years ago, should we be expecting a massive new innovation this year? Let me know what you think down in the comments. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and check out this video next.